Well, we continue to talk about that chaos, the vandalism at our nation's capital and in the Capitol building. And we are grateful for those representatives who are joining us to kind of let us know what they've experienced and where they are with what's happening. So now we're talking with Representative Blake Moore, newly elected from the 1st Congressional District that comprises much or most of northern Utah. Congressman, this is my first time to get a chance to talk with you. Thank you for joining us. Heck of a first week, and I'm sorry for what you've been experiencing out there. You were on the floor, I understand, of the House at the time that this happened. Could you walk us through a little bit of that, what you saw, what exactly happened?
Yeah, and cut me off at any time because you know there's so much that sort of went on, but as debate was going on, all of a sudden the House staff members started to shut the second interior doors to several doors across the entire chamber, and they're in a balcony, they're on the lower floor, and they just started shutting those second doors because it's kind of like a two-pane system. He thought, okay, that's strange, because I was getting text messages from my team like, you know, hey, they've breached the Capitol. There's been one shot, or someone has died apparently. So that's the information that I had at the time. And, you know, I had been out looking out through the balcony, seeing the protesting happen, and it seemed like it was escalating. And that's all I could see from afar. Then I went back, and as I was sitting into hearing the debate, you know, they shut down the doors. Mm-hmm. And then it settled, and then they stopped, recessed, and then they actually went back to debating. And at that point, I had already known that they had breached the Capitol. So I thought, oh, if they're going to be willing to start back up debating again, then yeah, this will be fine. And then all of a sudden, the Capitol Police rushed in, and it got pretty hectic at that point. And they were guarding every door. Then they were yelling to people to get their gas masks out because there's tear gas going through the hallways.
So when you say that people started, they were yelling, that sort of thing. I mean, this is just not something that we're used to. We think about that as a really august chamber. People can get loud in debate, but this sounds really different. What the atmosphere there? There was shouting. What was it like?
You know, it was shouting from official Capitol Police or security detail. They were telling people to stay in their seats and not move and just get their gas masks out. And the individual behind me couldn't figure out how to open his, and so like you just tell some panic kind of sets in a little bit, but it never got such that anybody was not able to function or anything like that, right? It wasn't there. But when the Capitol Police came in and shut down the door, and then I had 4 or so colleagues that were right by the entrance, where they could potentially, I could see they had like this big piece of wood or something like that they were going to try to barricade or use to push back the door if anything happened. And that's when the pounding on the doors started.
Wow. So you were in there when they reached the door and they started pounding, trying to get through.
Yeah, you could hear the pounding. That was pretty harrowing. That was a little weird to hear. Like that was tough. Other stuff is general protocol, and you're fine. And then you start hearing the pounding. You're like, oh, we've got to do something. We've got to probably get out of here. And then they had us usher out, and then you get to the hallways. That was probably the next toughest, like, you know, tough thing or scary thing to be dealing with is you're brand new. You don't know the hallway system. Yes. There's 17 tunnels going 13 different directions. And every time you turn a corner, you just kind of know. And sometimes you're alone when you're going through that. And then sometimes you're with a big group. And then they got us out of the Capitol into the House buildings, so our office buildings. And we got over to Longworth, which is where my office is. And they said, at that point, we weren't even sure where they were going to put us. And so they said, cafeteria, everybody go to the cafeteria. And I got there and I grabbed my other colleague. I'm like,
yeah, you're brand new. I have been in that building reporting, and it's taken me hours to find an office, literally. It's one of the biggest buildings I've ever been in.
We as elected individuals, we're kind of the target right now. Why are we going to one mass center place? So he and I just said, just go to your team. So we just kind of left the group, went up the hallways, and getting a team. I called my chief on the way up, said, hey, I'm coming to the door. Don't open it unless I give you the certain knock. And we did a little thing there. And got in. The team was awesome. That was the greatest part. We got to spend, we spent time. The team was great and prepared. We got stuff done and then communicated with folks. People back at home were Governor Cox and GOP Chairman Derek Brown and our local police were coordinating because you just don't know.
Making sure your family's safe.
We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything was safe. And
And I want, before we finish off, and I really appreciate you walking us through that because that is something we haven't heard yet, but I do want to give you a chance to say what you're thinking today about what happened. Does it change how you're thinking about your role and where you go from here? And does it change your impression of either the part of the movement within the right of your party or the president? What are your reflections?
Yeah, I was very disappointed in President Trump's initial video. And we were in our office, barricaded in. I was coordinating with local police, making sure that things were fine at home. I was very confident they would be, but you just take precautions. And at that very time, the very first thing he said was about election fraud. There's chaos going on all over the place. And his first comments were, I really, really had a tough time with that. So I struggled with that quite a bit. Yeah, I mean, many things are different. It was great to be able to just go back to session, finish up the business that was started, get through it, and hopefully we can get back to work. This morning we had a call with our team. We talked scheduling, we talked logistics, kind of the real work. When I'm going back out to Uintah County, when we have a Hill Air Force Base meeting next week, we talked about next week's schedule. The team was amazing. I will just continue to say that.
Yeah.
They were focused. We were able to bond a little bit because we're all kind of like new and gelling. It was an experience that helped us, see like that's what it's about. We've got 11 members plus me on the team. This is a great opportunity.
Congressman Blake Moore, we're out of time, but I'm glad that you could take something from those events and I hope it's the worst day in the rest of your career in Congress. I really hope that for everybody up there. But thank you for taking some time with us. I look forward to talking to you in the future.